What's going on, everyone? This is Jay from Premier Gaming Entertainment, here to bring to you my predictions video for this week's game versus Wisconsin. Before I get started, please leave, if you can, please leave a like on the video, as it definitely helps out the channel. Also, leave me a comment in the comment section below if you can. Just let me know how you feel about the game. Do you think it's going to be a close game? Do you think it's going to be a blowout? Somewhere in between. Let me know how you feel about that in the comment section below. And as always, if you enjoy my content, definitely subscribe to the channel. So let's get into it. This is going to be an interesting game. Wisconsin so far this year is 2-2. They've struggled. It's been a interesting last few years under Luke Fickell, and to be honest with you, I'm surprised that I'm not gonna. Well, yeah, no, I can really flat out say it. I'm just surprised at how poorly Wisconsin has turned out to be under his tenure. I expected more from them. I expected them. I mean, they got rid of a coach that was giving them, 8 to 10 wins a year. And I guess they felt that wasn't enough, so they got rid of him, brought in Luke Fickell, and now look where we're at. So it's almost like Wisconsin is like the new Nebraska, where people weren't satisfied with them being consistently winning, like 9 games a year. That wasn't good enough. So they got rid of the guy that was consistently giving them those win totals. And now look where their program is at. They've regressed. And, this season has been really, really bad for them. On top of that, they have a brutal schedule. So, I mean, they're not going to be as bad as UCLA, but there is a chance that they may not win another game all year based off of their schedule. It's probably the worst schedule I've ever seen. But regardless of that, we're here to talk about the game this Saturday. And, based off of what I see, this is going to be a game where Michigan, if everything, turns out the way it's supposed to, and obviously, that doesn't always come to pass, but if it does, it'd be a good opportunity for Michigan to work on some things. We're coming off of a bye week, which I always hate. I always personally feel like the bye week is overrated. People, talk about it gives you an extra week to prepare and this and this and that. But I've always felt that and I've always said in my videos that I felt like the bye week was overrated. If anything, it takes you off schedule. You're used to playing week by week, and now you have an extra week. So it may take you some time to get back into, the swing of things as far as the game goes, as far as timing, the whole game speed and everything like that. And so normally I'd be like, this is actually a detriment to them as opposed to a positive. But Wisconsin is also on a bye as well, so that makes that a wash. Now, I've been hearing all over the place about how Wisconsin has the best run defense in the whole entire college football and everything like that, and how because of that, Michigan is not going to be able to run the football, and how they're going to have to rely solely on the pass game because they're not going to be able to run the football. And obviously I don't know for certain, but I personally feel as though that whole run statistic for Wisconsin is kind of blown out of proportion. And, sometimes looking at the stats can be misleading. And I think in this case, even though statistically speaking, they have this top upper echelon run defense, you know, least amount of run, I think is yards per run average, least amount of rushing yards allowed, haven't allowed anyone to run for 100 yards individually on them. And that's good. That's all fine and dandy. But I feel as though that stat is a little bit over. It's a little bit overrated, and I don't think that it's relative to what they've actually done on the field. What I mean by that is, even though the run totals are there, one, it's a small sample size, but two, the teams that they've gone against to get those stats have not exactly been world beaters at running the football. So that's part of the aspect of it. So if you're not even good at running the football to begin with, I'm not talking just from that game, I'm talking about for all their games so far, then it makes it seem like your run defense is better than what it is if the teams that you play aren't good at running the football to begin with anyways. But on top of that, you have the aspect of the fact that their passing defense is not even that good either. So if your pass defense is very, very bad, but your run defense seems like it's good, part of that is because what do we need to run the football for when we can get whatever we want passing the football? So a lot of teams have just carved them in half just passing the football. And in doing so, they don't even have to run the football. So because of that, it inflates your stats and makes you look better than what you really are as far as run defense, when everyone's just passing on you and getting whatever they want anyways. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in this game, whether or not they get exposed or if they're legit with their run defense. I think it's going to be somewhere in between. I mean, I don't expect them to run for 400 yards, but I don't think they're going to be held under 100 yards either. Somewhere in between is where I see that going to, which bodes well for Michigan. But on top of that, let's say for argument's sake that they are able to, stop the run to a certain extent, or at least slow the running game down. I feel as though this is the week that Michigan can work on their passing offense because of that. So, you got a defense that supposedly is good against the run but not good against the pass. Well, what a perfect game to work on your whole passing game. Because up until this point, Michigan's passing game has been mid to below mid. And, part of that can be attributed, obviously, to how successful we've been running the football. But, you couple that with the drops, and you couple that with, the team as a whole, their offensive philosophy is basically, being as careful as they possibly can with Bryce and not putting him into bad situations, and, being very conservative and having the training wheels on and having only half field reads and, certain concepts where he's not necessarily having to read the whole field, or not necessarily having to read coverage or anything like that. It's just like you have a couple of options, you go to them, and that's it. I know it's going to take time, but, this would be a good time to work on those passing concepts. Work on the drop back passing, and not just limit it to certain, formations or certain call plays like naked boot or, rolling out and all that. I'd like to see more drop back passing. That would be nice. So it's gonna, like I said, it's gonna be interesting to see how well this so quote unquote elite run defense is when they have a team like Michigan who specializes in running the football and has been very successful in running the football. Let's see how they face that type of offense. So, you couple that with the fact that this is a home game for Michigan. It's a homecoming, I think they said it is. It's going to be a maze out. And, it looks like this is going to be a game where Michigan is going to dominate. So if what I've read and heard is true, their number one starting quarterback, Billy Edwards, is probably not going to play. So it means that one of their backups is going to get in there. And that is definitely, good news for Michigan. It allows their DNs and their linebackers to just tee off. And I feel as though they're going to really eat this game. It's going to be a long day for the Wisconsin quarterbacks. And with this, it'll be interesting to see if they keep up the same momentum that they've had with this new philosophy and of having Jay-Sean rushing the passer and being a pass rusher and allowing guys like Jimmy Rolder and Cole Sullivan to basically take his spot and make plays from their linebacker position. So that is going to be real interesting to see whether or not that trend continues or if it was just kind of like a one-off situation. So, if it's not Billy Edwards and it's one of their backups, I feel as though their offense is going to struggle to move the football. I feel as though it's going to be kind of a repeat of what it was against Nebraska, where they're not going to have time to sit back and take the time and make plays with their arm and anything like that. I feel as though these guys are going to be in the backfield like right away, and Wisconsin's going to have to go quick game or, screen passes or whatever the case may be, because they're not going to be able to stop us from rushing the passers. So with that being said, I feel as though Michigan's front seven is going to completely overwhelm Wisconsin, and this is going to be a long day for their quarterback. So my prediction for this game is I see them maybe having a couple of drives where they move it at least into within field goal range and their drives stall, and they're just able to come away with a couple of field goals. So my personal prediction is Michigan 31 and Wisconsin 6. I feel as though they're getting a score. I don't think they're going to get shut out. I think they're going to get a couple of field goals, and that's going to be about it. So anyways, that is it for the video. Thank you for watching. As always, leave a like on the video as it definitely helps out the channel. Leave me a comment in the comment section below how you feel about the game. And if you enjoy my content, definitely subscribe to the channel. Anyways, thank you for watching. And as always, go blue.